Right, now this is my third attempt to do the voiceover and to explain why there is no sound on this particular video. Yeah, and it is, I can't turn the clock back. That's the one thing with recordings. The video recorded fine, but the literal sound didn't. So I'm having to go through this all over again. Now we have bought this production, or yes, we have just bought this production. This is the Asphalt, or is it the Tar? We're buying the Asphalt business. This entire episode is us buying businesses and productions and all the rest of it. And yeah, I'm going to try to catch up. Basically, I had a Windows 11 update and it smashed all the devices. Obviously, I record all the time and everything was fine, and it removed all the devices. This that we're approaching now is the tyre factory, which I presumed was a production, which it's not. It's a buying point. So this is me running around like a mad thing. Of course, I have the interactive zone marker switched off, so I'm trying blindly to try and find the buy the production as I think at this moment in time, but there is none. It's one of those downsides to having the interactive zone marker switched off. So this is me going like a mad thing to every single door to sort of try and find out where is the buy point. There isn't one. It literally is actually just a sell point. I will catch up honestly, and I will switch the interactive zone markers on after trying every single possible place that it could be. Yeah, I actually look at this and I'll switch those on, and then I have another go and still can't see any interactive, because there aren't any. There's only that sign there to say that you can literally take, literally grab them. It's a sell point. So yeah, I presumed it was a business and that we bought rubber and made the tyres and then sent them on, but you don't actually. It is literally just a buy point. There's a lot of, I've done this as a time lapse. I put a little bit of background music because I always find it very hard to add sound after the fact, to literally add your voice to that, because I find that we humans are unique and original, and it's difficult for me personally to actually add my voice afterwards, because you're catching up, and also you're talking in the past tense, because I've already done this and I know what's going to happen. So you've got to try very hard not to give the game away of what's going to happen in the future. So this is about my fourth attempt to do this, but the third attempt to do this actual episode. So I'm hoping, yeah, I'm realising, look, the tyres that is used are sold by the used tyre place. So I realise now that actually all we do is we buy the tyres. Now when I say buy, I mean buy for nothing. And at this point I actually do go over that no business could continue. It's a game, I know, but also there's if you're trying to play realistically, there's got to be a value. That place couldn't exist without selling the used tyres if that was its purpose. So I haven't done this yet. It's not even on this episode. I will be paying for every load of tyres that we take from this, the same as I'm going to be paying for every load of iron, every load of stone, every load of sand and coal. The coal I've been doing through inputs so far, buying it through the inputs, and I'm quite happy with that. It's $500 per, well, at the minute I've got my settings on pounds, which I realise much later on. Again, it's you know what's happening, so therefore you tell people what has happened. I've got to try to get better at that. I'm always up at 511,192, so we're doing well. So we've got a load of tyres, which I love the graphics. Yes, they're a bit two-dimensional, but they're still a fantastic effort. So we're going to stick the tyres. Yeah, the asphalt business, again, it's, we've got the tar business as well. So we want tyres and we want crude oil. So I realise that these businesses all intersect, and there's an awful lot of work for us to do. This entire episode is us making these businesses work. And making plenty of mistakes, which I should point out along the way. Yeah, I've done this at times 2 times up. The music I've done at a very low level, so it's just a little bit of background, because it wasn't recording any kind of sound whatsoever, and I don't personally like that. So I've done it as a ×2 time lapse, so that I don't have to waffle on constantly. There's a lot of cutting in and out though, where at ×1 the scene changes are easier for you to sort of see, so it looks like I've map jumped. I haven't. All I've done is I would have cut from one scene and cut to another. I didn't want to lose footage by chopping them or having fade-ins and fades out, because I would have lost too much footage, because there's a lot of little tiny blips where I come in from this scene to that scene, so I'll try and explain it as we go along. And I've had a look at this already in advance so that I'm trying to remind myself of what actually went on in the session. I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to do. Oh, that's right, but we're buying the big tanker. Yeah, we need that, because if we're going to lug crude oil, then we're going to need a big tanker, not a little one. I know we've got the other one that's fairly big, but not big enough really for what we're trying to do, so we've gone big, which now we've got a lorry we will do. That, have I done it yet? Is it the cheaty one? I've upgraded it, or I will upgrade it to 600 horsepower in this session. I think I've already done it. I think I might have just done that just back then, but it's, yeah, it's hard to say. And of course, yeah, I've reset that now, but that was when, on the episode where we were grabbing the pallet forks, and I, yeah, literally, because I didn't want to dart off, I sold them there, so I've reset that now back to the shop. This is a lot of driving around, and although it was a 2-hour session, as in when it was ×1, it's now just under an hour odd, or just slightly over an hour, this is saying. So yeah, I'm going to try to keep up and sort of tell you what's happening. So then we are at present going to pop up into the mountains and investigate the crude oil. Yeah, because we need that for part of the inputs for what we're doing. We need crude oil, we need sand, we need gravel for all the different businesses, and obviously with the iron, we will get some more iron as well. I won't explain why. Look what this says, rough road. You think? It really is a rough road. And remember, this is unladen, and that's now 600 horsepower. That is one of the biggest hills I think I've ever seen in the game. And I have seen some on some of the login maps. I think the one that Mr. CLP did in FS19, that had some corking hills, and I played that map myself, and some of those hills were monsters. This is a monster. Although I'm not sure that the lorry's horsepower in FS22 is quite as equivalent to the FS19 equivalent. The lorries seemed a bit more powerful, so whether Giants had the horsepower too high in FS19, or whether in FS22 it's more realistic and so therefore we're not used to it, I'm not 100% sure. All I know is this is 600 horsepower, which is a fairly hefty lorry, and that hill is a monster. I've got to be careful not to give the game away. Yeah, what is that above our head, I wonder? It looks like a container. Trying to think what I was actually talking about. But it's also a bridge. So of course, as anybody would, you've got to investigate, why has the map maker given us a path? Obviously I'm travelling at all, like, actually double running speed here, because this is sped up as well. So I do love the realism. I think it's fantastic, the course and the, I'm trying to think, the stones and all of the ground textures. That's the word I was looking for, textures. Aha! And it's a deer one. It's a 500,000 one. But this time, I'm not quite so quick to give it away, which I am quite grateful for, because this time, without, yeah, we've basically bought that. So yeah, and it is 500,000. I thought it was 400. So actually, that paid exactly that. So we're exactly where we should be, which I'm quite pleased about. Because although it's benefited us, it's not really made that much of a difference to us, really. And that also shows how close we are to the crude oil business. Yes, there's a lot of things on this map where you can buy things for free. So in other words, they're given to you. Now that doesn't fit with my model, but I don't have to run with it, and I'm not going to. So I am going to be buying things, but I'm going to be paying reasonable amounts. yeah, I'm not like going to be silly because everybody wants to make profit, but I want to simulate the fact that, you know, you'd have to buy the iron. I know Silverrun also does it for free, but and that's first time I've ever known Giants to actually do something like that. But yeah, that though took effort. You had got to go up into the mountains, you'd got to collect it yourself. This, likewise, you have got to go and collect it, but that's not really what I class as working or legitimately buying an input, really. So yeah, I'm going to make that a little bit more realistic. We're going to buy it from partners to simulate the fact that, yeah, also in a way makes a mockery of this business, because the crude oil you can get for free from the train selling station, which is a thing we find out in a few minutes, which then to me seems to sort of make a mockery of this business. But the map maker's got to try and do this to suit everybody, and we've all got different sensibilities. If you're playing realistically, you don't want things for free. If you're playing for a bit of fun, then what does it matter? Although I just think, there's a degree of realism that I would always have wanted to have played with, even on FS19 or FS22. The idea that I got given something on a plate would have meant that was not a map jump, that was a jump from one frame to another. Yeah, so we're having the extension but not the Unreal. I'm trying to play as realistically as possible within the game rules, to not cheat or to, yeah, give myself that. Oh, and here's where we do the cheat. Right, so now that is 600 horsepower. Yeah, there's a lot of chopping in and out where I don't take you all the way with me, because I thought this would have been 4 hours long had I have done that, where I'm taking you with me every single journey. So there's quite a bit of where you'll see me drop off sand, and then the next thing you'll see me dropping off some gravel. That's because I've cut out the journey sometimes. Yeah, that you can buy it from the train loading station and the old mine shop for free. And you can't buy that. That was the river sand, which we saw on the first episode, that near the train selling point. Selling, I say very loosely, because at the minute most products are sold for free. Hardly selling, but yes, that's giving, I believe is the right word. But yeah, you can't buy that. No one's selling the river sand. We saw that on day one, where the train is now, roughly. Yeah, that's a bar of sand in that. Now, we did put two and two together, so we'd probably need a wheel loader or a trailer to go and collect it from that. And that is, of course, what we are investigating now. That was a terrible pullout, which I did mention on the video. That was terrible. Yeah, it was a really bad one. I'm going to turn left now when we get a break from the traffic. Yeah, so this is my attempt to voice over, but this time I'm going to try to get a little better, where I don't give the game away in advance, because the thing is, obviously, as a human being, you know what happened already. It's very difficult. I admire Dagwin and Milk That Hen for the fact that they always do their videos where they put their voiceover afterwards, which, if you get the skill, can be easier because you're not concentrating on driving. But I like the originality of being a human, where you are alive at that moment, and that is the way that we work at our best. Although, of course, you've got the overhead of actually doing things at the same time, so you're splitting your concentration, which is why sometimes I make mistakes with what I say and all that type of thing. So it's more realistic because it's real when you do it live, but then it's also can be a little bit where your concentration splits, so therefore you get your words a little muddled and you can say the wrong thing, and you will only catch that in editing. And yes, of course, you could go through every video and correct every single fluff, but then I'm not covering over the fact that I'm a human being and I make mistakes. Yeah, and I probably wouldn't make all of those mistakes if I wasn't doing it live. So yeah, there's a trade-off really for that. There we are, there's a sandbar. Yeah, so we figured that out in that very first video, so we know we've got to grab some of that river sand if we want to do both inputs for making crude oil, because it wants sand and river sand. The river sand is only in this place. It doesn't get sold on the map. You can't buy it. Whether you're supposed to be able to is another matter. Now, I don't think so. But you can see you walk through the sand, so the sand's only a graphic. Yeah, it's like for us to see, because you can walk through it, which I wasn't trying to walk through. I was trying to walk on it and didn't realise it was only graphics. It's not got any structure, any physics. Yeah, you just go straight through it like that. It's almost an illusion, you could say, in game mechanics terms. This is me telling you that we're obviously going to need to, because the road leads down there, which does lead you to the, and there's a loading ramp, which suggests that either you should be able to load the sand from that, whether it was be done with a, I mean, it suggests to me perhaps a sell point. Yeah, I've called the train. Perhaps a sell point should exist there, where you should be able to call that, but we try that now and it doesn't pop. So it's either not working, or it's a feature the map maker is going to bring in later. I doubt it though, because this is obviously one of the working productions on the map. However, you can still work without this one feature. That's the one thing I did discover. The only thing this affects is the crude oil, where you can use sand and river sand, so that it's not an aspect that's a game changer. You can still work on this map without the river sand. You just can only do half of your crude oil. And of course you can also buy the crude oil from this very place. Yeah, you can load it for free into the liquid tanker, which is something we find in a few minutes. Again, I've jumped the gun again. Yeah, so this is us grabbing this normal sand, because we want to get that business going. Well, yeah, we need to make the tar and we need to do the asphalt, both of which require sand. I think that's right. Yeah, I don't show all of this either. Some of it I'll just show you that I'm doing the sand and I'm just going to do a gravel run, but I'll just literally pan to that section. So I will try to explain what I'm doing as we go through this. Yeah, I'm just saying that you can't, yeah, there's nowhere to actually buy it. Nobody's selling it, basically. So yeah, it's at this precise moment I'm trying to figure out why. As you do, you're going through the process, you're thinking, well, why can I not do this? Do I need I think I've just mentioned the fact that I'm going to try a trailer and the telehandler with the bucket on. I'm going to bring those over. So in a minute it is going to pan to that, where we are back in that location with a telehandler and the trailer, trying to find where we can load or unload. And I'm fairly thorough, so I think something's gone wrong, if I'm honest with the map, or it's a feature that's intended. The map makers realised that it wasn't was something they were going to add in a little while. It's the begun to, I don't know, I don't know that you would, I don't know if features do get added. So yeah, I can't second guess. I am not the map maker. I don't know what the, yeah, and that again is a terrible overshoot. I'm really awful with the train, the braking. It's really something else. Yeah, this is me realising I've not sold that. Well, I did actually. This is what I said. I sold the DEF, definitely, because I got the money for it and it had all gone. But it's almost like for some reason the game didn't clear it. And then, of course, this explains why in that first episode, why the diesel wouldn't load into the liquid tanker, because it still got DEF in it, or it had thought it had still got DEF in it. So we have now sold the DEF, and it is saying that we've sold the DEF. So yeah, now we should be able to sell the diesel through. So at least that's one. I do like these mysteries to be solved, where you can that was me going that way to see if there was a waterfall, and it doesn't, it just ends abruptly, the water. I thought the map maker may do a waterfall, so as you go around and look at it that way, that you might see it. But no, it wasn't that. I said, whoops, sorry, I've just showed you something the map maker wouldn't want you to show. But you've got to look at these things, haven't you? You've got to see, because it could have been the most spectacular waterfall that we'd have ever seen. I do like the way the map edge has been done. It's quite good. I really do like that. Right, so that's the sand, which we're going to need to come and fetch with a trailer at some point. Yeah, we do quite a lot of this train work in this session. Now this, I think that I thought I'd pressed the return the train, but I didn't. I was too busy with trying to come and see what these things are over here, the bale sail point. Yeah, and that's the bale sail point. But then I lose track and think I've sent the train back, but it's not, because it would go off. Yeah, now I think we're going to shoot out to something else. This is me going over, and I think we're going to go by the river, the bank of sand now. I'm sure that's right. Yeah, we are. This is me in the graphics. You can see trying to find a pop point for Phil, and there isn't one. I'm quite thorough. I've gone up to the one on the right, as you see it now, the one on the left. I've been on the train track where that is, in case there was a point, but we've got, yeah, there's nothing there. You can't buy it. There's no load point. I did the same with the telehandler. Went into the river and put that down so that it was actually even against the floor bed. Nothing ever popped. There was no field points at any time. So something's not quite right, or it's not ready yet. Again, obviously we're doing what anybody would do. You come in, you can see a feature, you know what the map maker's trying to do, and you're trying to get that sorted. But something's at this minute, this is the only thing so far that I found that doesn't work at present. And again, it's not a game changer. You don't need this sand as well. You can still use the other sand. Right, now this is us now going to grab. Yeah, and this is where I realise I haven't sent the train back, and now I have. So that will go darting off, and we can pick up our load of sand. Yeah, I'm only going to talk when necessary. I'm not going to belabour this. And that's the other thing that I always find in these situations, is the fact that you talk naturally about lots of things when you're in a conversation with friends, which is what I've always said is what enables me to talk to you as if we're having a conversation, is the fact that I'm talking to friends that I've not met yet. I remember those words in Lone Oak on FS19 when I first started to create content. But you do lose a bit of that, as in you don't know where you were going originally, because that's the point. The human brain is live. I mean, acting and that is something that a lot of people learn to do, but it's not natural. Yeah, a natural thing is to be living and original. That is the normal way for a human being. Copying and mimicking and that type of thing are something that you learn. And it's not original. It's not the proper sort of way that we're built. I mean, you can do it, but it takes effort because it's not the natural order of things. Right. Yeah, and that's me. Again, I'm not map jumping. That's just me showing you change of scenes, that this 600 horsepower beast with 108.5 ton is incapable of making any forward movement on that hill. It is grinding halt time, and I realise I'm going to have to buy a more powerful lorry, or I could have leased one. I sort of thought about that, and my normal go-to would be either the Roadrunner Plus, but I've just featured that a lot in quite a few Let's Plays, and also the Phoenix, which would be probably the primary one that I would turn to most of the time. But I don't want to do that all of the time, so we're just having a good look through the things where I find out that you can actually put a rear hitch on this, which is something that is useful to know, because that's the type of lorry that in Europe we're used to seeing almost. Yeah, we're not used to seeing things like the Roadrunner, the Man and the IT Runner like that, the Tatra. That's the type of shape you see in Europe and Britain especially. We don't get those big nosed lorries like the Mack and the Pinnacle and all the rest of it, or even the TLX Phoenix. This one I'm showing because I'm talking about Silver Run, how we've got this on Silver Run, and I can't figure out, it's not got a fifth wheel, can't figure out its backs, and so we have a quick look for a couple of minutes at backs where I'm trying to discover where the aggro work backs are. I don't know that if it's a set. Normally with the all of the H2 Studios things, if you load the lorry you get the pack, but I'm not sure what this is. Yeah, these are tippers. These are the 3500 pack. But this is the one I'm wondering. TLX Dumper X2. Is it that? Is that what this is supposed to have? In which case, it's quite a small flatbed in its natural size. And I would probably be tempted to go for the Unreal for once to make that an 82 tonner. Because it is a fairly big lorry. Yeah, to make that almost like the 70 tonner. Because again, it's not got a rear hitch. What I would do is, if it's got the power of a normal TLX Phoenix, I would have like literally boosted its engine up and just tugged something along. But yeah, I mean, this we've got this on Silver, and I really don't like going Unreal, so I probably would just go for it as another tipper. Which is a shame, really. I'm not sure I would have bought it had I realised that. But I'm also going to check whether I'm right or wrong, and yeah, whether there is another back for it, whether I've missed something. I might go over a couple of other people's mod reviews and see, so that we can check that I'm not missing anything. But it's definitely not got a fifth wheel. Right, this is me shifting this out of the way. I remove that, and we buy actually in situ. We get ordered at the shop. We have the cab over. This is my choice this time, because this is one I've never had, the big one. Yeah, I've got the one on Silver Run. We've got the yellow one, which we upgraded. It allows you to upgrade to the middle one, but it won't let you go for this options of 120 something grand, the big one, unless you buy it directly, or you got that one in the sale. Now we got the yellow one, the cheapest one, and we upgraded it to the same as the middle, so I think it's 600 to 800 horsepower, something like that on Silver, and that's our lead lorry. But we now have got the aggro work. Now then, this is 1800 horses. Just look at its speed. Now I thought this would motor up this hill like it was, yeah, nothing, but not really. Yeah, this is a bit of a struggle for it, which does beg the question, what are we going to do in the future? I've got a few ideas. On the Riverside map, there is the, well, it's not the Riverside, it is the, what's its name? I always get the Grain Quid Pro, which is a production stroke silo. In other words, it can do what a production can do. So you transport minions, can transport the things from that or to that from anywhere on the map. So what I was thinking was, using the power of production, the one thing, obviously again, this is where the human brain is aware of this entire session, and I know the gleanings that I got from going through this session, and what that it makes your brain tick over. What can I do to fix this? What can I do to make this better? That's the way my brain always works, is streamline, make things better. How can we improve this realistically, but how can we do that? Yeah, you look at that. We're still reaching the brow of the hill. It's a nice ride down, but it's not a nice ride up. Yeah, now this is obviously, we bought the crude oil business, so we've got to come up here with sand and that regularly. Or do something like the Grain Quid Pro, where we have two of those and our minions transport that in the background from one to another. That's what I think I'm going to do, because I get the feeling that this map is going to, especially with the iron business, we're going to do well out of the iron business, and yeah, the asphalt business as well. Obviously we've got that, we've got the BGA, we're doing all sorts of things. I did notice again in editing, not live, that you can add other things like the crude oil as a input, like you can with the silage. So in other words, that we would get more energy from this business than we would on any other map, because you can do the crude oil, and you can do, I'll show you when we, yeah, in a few minutes when we go inside that, so that it makes sense. Because again, this is something live that I actually missed. Sometimes in editing, that is one thing I do like about editing all of my videos, and that is that you notice things in editing that you missed when you were live, because your concentration is on everything else, on driving the tractor, on using your skills. It isn't that, yeah, your voice and your talking is something that takes second place, which is why you make mistakes. Right, yeah, I decided I'm going to turn around, because I think reversing, I've left that other trailer in a right terrible place. To leave it a right mess for myself, make it quite difficult. And of course, I'm wobbling all over the place. Yeah, so it's weird how sometimes I can drive really well and then other times you're just a little bit tired and your driving's all over the place. I think I've hit at least 2 things on this session already. I'm going to hit this now. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Right, so that's 108 tons of sand going into there, and this is where we're going into the menu. Yeah, switch those off because we don't need them now. We know where this is. You can see the sand going up, and yeah, the crude oil number 1 with the normal sand. You can see the river sand was there as well on the crude oil, so you can use those 2 inputs, which would mean that you would output in doubly. But at the minute, the river sand we cannot find. Well, we can find it, we just can't do anything with it. So whether there's going to be, I would imagine it's going to be a map update. I'm not worried about it. It's not like it's stopping us doing this particular session. I would have pulled my hair out if I'd have done all this work and wouldn't have been able to show you the full productions. Yeah, you can see there, that is the BGA, and it's got crude oil in there. You can also see there's a coal input. Yeah, and that's another thing, we can put coal in there to produce yet more energy. I will be doing this now. I realise that it does do that. We're going to be using this map to its full, and I've got to be honest, this is only a penny drop moment that happened at the end of this, and I'll explain a little bit later when I am chatting to you at the end what I'm actually sort of saying to you, because it's just, I think it's my roots from a start from scratch. You tend to start with very little money and build up. To go big is a bit of a, it's the one thing I'm not good at, is that switching from cheapness that you have to do. You have got to have like a really fine mind at the beginning. Anyway, we'll chat about that in a bit because I'm not keeping up with. Yeah, this is us. The tar. We need the sand and the gravel. The methane we've already got because we distributed that from the BGA already. You can see that's on distributing. Yeah, the asphalt. We need tar, gravel, sand, and the methane is already there to produce the asphalt. Yeah, now look closely at this. Yes, there's no selling point available, so that we correct. I do that off camera. Yeah, I do. I've got to explain that because you'll sort of see in a bit where it has got a selling point. That's because I added it. I put the sell everywhere. I wasn't sure it was going to work, but it does because it sells everything and buys everything. Yeah, it literally encompasses anything that the map maker has put on, which is, it's absolute beaut. It is. It's usually my go-to for anything that's a bit weird that won't appear, and so therefore, yeah, we correct that in a little while. Look at our money, down to 263,000 through buying that fantastic lorry. I do a bit of wild driving down here because it goes away from me going around this corner, or the one at the bottom. Yeah, I'm a bit. I shouldn't have been travelling down a road like this. Well, yeah, I should have been a bit slower. Shouldn't drive down a hill and round a corner like that. Look at that. Yeah, terrible, terrible, terrible. This is us taking this down to the sandbar, yeah, to try to see if no, oh, it isn't. No, what are we doing? Ah, that's right. I said because our money was getting lower that we needed to get some iron. So while we're over this way, I'm going to go over and think that I'm going to get iron with the truck, which I've given the game away by saying the word think. Yeah, it is true. Yeah, but you've got to try these things out. It's only retrospectively that I know that I'm going to fail in this task, but you've got to try. I didn't know this at the time. Yeah, just checking my route that I can actually make it, and it looks on the map like you can almost pull parallel to the train selling point. So at this moment I'm thinking I can get, now I could if I cheated and went on the railway track, but there's nowhere really that's for a road. The roads only go as far as up this end. You're not supposed to do that, and so I'm observing the map maker's vision, and I'm not trying to do anything terrible. I know we've sold a few iron. That's the other thing on this session as well. I basically said that although we're going to sell the iron direct from this point onwards, because it would ruin the Let's Play. For every single session I have got an hour and a half's worth of loading and unloading to do, and all I show is the money go up or me selling the things, or yeah, it's going to detract from things. So although I'm going to take a hit, I'm still going to earn enough money that it makes it worthwhile. So I'm going to put that, I do put that on selling in a little while. But we will be paying for our iron $20,000. I know it says pounds at the minute, but yeah, this is where the penny drops. That yes, it's down below us and I can't get to it, so I don't jump the map. This is where I would start another scene where I've gone from this point and I've gone down to the bottom where the train call is. I call the train because I noticed it was on the map really quite close to us, so I thought it's not going to take long to call it back. So this is where I've called it back. You can see it says return rented train on the top, and it's beginning to come back. Yeah, because we're going to grab a load. We've got some more sand to buy, some more iron to buy, and some more gravel to buy. Yeah, that's the 3 inputs we need for the 3 different businesses. And again, I do discover the fact that the liquid tanker, you can get herbicides and crude oil and something else liquid. Well, I think it might be this very time that we actually find that out, so we shall see. I can't remember the 3rd input. Yeah, I noticed the selling that was when I went under the liquid tanker. So yeah, it is amazing, the amazing way that the brain does make yeah, it's there where I notice, hang on a minute, why did that say start filling on the liquid tankers? You can hear your brain chattering, it's amazing. So I of course investigate. Herbicide, water and crude oil. Yeah, water, so yeah, which we could get for free anyway. I don't partake of that, which is a bit silly really, but I was a bit gutted at this moment because obviously I've just bought the crude oil and I can buy it from the train loading station or be given it for free, which makes a bit of a mockery of the business that we've just bought. So yeah, which is another thing. I'm obviously not going to do that. We're going to put effort in and we're going to do the crude oil business properly. Right, so we're doing the iron to keep our money up first. Got to keep your businesses going, haven't you? Really. I think again, I'm swapping scenes here. Yeah, this is me going the other way around the map. So I bring you in. So I wanted to show you coming around the other side of the map. Again, I think my slowing down distance is terrible. Oh no, I am actually slowing down well in advance this time. I'm not sure it's going to be slow enough though, but we shall see. One of these times I actually do it alright. I think it's this time, this very time. Yeah, it's practice makes perfect, really, isn't it? It's you realise that you need to approach that and slow down much sooner. Yeah, well, this is me pointing out we need gravel, sand and methane, and I think I say I'm not going to show you, but you watch very quickly. It appears this is me actually. I've gone back and now we are unloading either the sand or the gravel. So that's me going back again and then coming back again and unloading that, and I think I do it one more time. Do I take you with me this time? I think I do. But yeah, I did the middle one without you because I thought it's going to be much of a muchness, but we'd not been this way back. I didn't sort of show you the entire route, so this is going around the back end of the mountain to the south point. So this is us now. We should have sand, gravel for the asphalt business. Is that right? Is it the asphalt business or the tar business? I always get confused with the two. There's a lot of buying this to do that to do the other. It is quite a complicated setup, but when you can see the productions, it's not that complicated. But yeah, remembering which business is which when you've only looked at the page a couple of times is a bit tricky. We shall see in a few minutes when we switch to that production. But yeah, there's a lot of us making our businesses work during this session. And I've decided that the coal, did I mention this earlier? Yeah, I'm buying the coal from within this, the production itself, that way it's got it's 500. Yeah, here we go. This is me doing it now. It's 500 per ton, and that's what we're deciding we're going to buy, because coal is a dear commodity, so I'm quite happy to pay that per ton. So we get 100 odd tons in by doing it this way, because it doubles up every time. You got 15 tons, it buys 15 tons. You got 31 tons, it buys 31 tons. So the money goes up, how much it's costing you each time. So yeah, we get it up to 126 tons, which is enough to clear, more than enough to clear the 120 tons that we've got in. Well, we've got a little bit more than that because we had a bit of extra from the first thing. Because I think we only had 80 odd tons in our trailer, and there was 120 tons, so there's 37 tons, and then again there's 120 tons that we've just taken, so there's something like 47 tons of excess iron which we can just grab from this. My plan is over a few sessions we'll just build up a second load and we'll just take that. I am planning on limiting one load a day, because if we did that where it does 500 tons per day, if we just did that, we'd be millionaires. In fact, I think we'd earn about 2 million a day, even selling at a sell point, if we did that. Now, I'm not being funny, but that's just, yeah, I mean, it's not cheating. It's just that I do think this is going to be a Let's Play where money has no relevance, because we're going to do very well. Which that's a strange place for me to be as a start from scratcher. But again, it's that growth as a content creator. You've got to grow, and you've got to change your skill set to adapt to whatever happens. And that's what I love about this, the challenge element. I think we're going to flip now scenes. I think this is me. Yeah, we're going to come back in a minute, I think. Down to 200,000. Yes, that wasn't me jumping either. We're back down at the shop, and we've got everything down at the shop. Yeah, now you can see, unfortunately, the price of asphalt is terrible. $145 euros or pounds. So for all of the efforts that we're going to go into, we are not going to be millionaires from that business. But I wanted to show the map off. We stumbled across probably the most lucrative of the businesses the first time. So the tar businesses, we need the tar to produce the asphalts. So the tar business likewise is a means to an end. So we spent a lot of money to do this. Now I'm wondering, what are the kerosene? What's the hold up? Because I can't produce the asphalt. Now we will. I should point something out to you. Yeah, all we've got through so far from the BGA is 15 tons nearly of methane, which we distributed a while back, and there was nothing to distribute to, so that only started to distribute once there was a production that required that. Now that's an important thing, which I miss a step on one of these bits. This is probably me saying that the map maker's made a mistake at this point, which he hadn't at all, or they hadn't, not at all. I'd made the mistake, yeah, because I misunderstood something and didn't. Well, actually, I forgot a step, which I'm going to show in a few minutes. I do cotton on at the end of the session, I might add. Yeah, eventually. Right, so if we look here, yeah, the gravel and the sand is the asphalt business that needs that. Yeah, we need to put that in. We've got them over at the train place, so we're going to grab that and stick that in. The kerosene's the bit. Look at the BGA. I haven't activated it. I'm going on about it's not coming across. We're speeding time up now, so that sucks through is my plan. Now note the money doesn't go up enormously. That was a tiny little tick of about $1,000, because I don't think there's any energy in the BGA. But yeah, I'm saying, oh no, the kerosene's not gone across. No, it hasn't, because you've not activated it at the BGA. So yeah, you can tell something to distribute, but if you don't activate it, it won't suck it. It won't say, oi, I need such and such. And of course, that's exactly what I've forgotten to do at this moment in time. Yeah, now this is me putting the iron in. Now we've already put the coal in a few minutes ago, so this should be active straight away. And is this where I put it onto selling? Yeah, that's distributing. I'm going on about that. The asphalt is storing, but all the others should be going to it now. But I've not switched the crude oil on, and I've not there. Finally, the penny's dropped. So the crude oil is now making, and it will distribute the kerosene. Yeah, the tar's distributing. But have I got everything in there? Yeah, again, we don't need the river sand. It doesn't stop it happening. It's just that you would obviously produce twice as much. But that's not a real... Yeah, it's not going to kill us. Yeah, so we've got that. We need to put the gravel and the sand in, is what I'm saying. And then the tar's going to start coming through as well. So it's all a matter of me literally going now. I think I decided to switch the time up to 15, and then I changed my mind and knock it back down to 1, because I'm wasting time if I've not got the input in the production, which I realise. So I'm going to go off. We're going to grab the 2 sets of gravel and sand, and we're going to stick those in the asphalt business, which unfortunately was rather disappointment on the financial things of it. 145 per ton of asphalt when you consider what you've got to stick in to produce it. Don't get me wrong, it's a business, isn't it? But yeah, so that's I think that's the gravel, it looks like. It doesn't look like sand to me. I don't think I show you all of this either. Is this the one where I try to send... Yeah, I do. I try to use the... so that I can show you the productions. I try to be clever and send the lorry over, but I can see, you can see through the transparency of these things. I can see the lorry doing the weirdest lurches, so in the end I take over. You look at it, it's wobbling all over the place in the background. But this is me showing that I'm going to put it on selling, and because of the church's low price and the train sell point, it's going to pretty much even each other at about £3,500 per ton of metal. So it's still going to be a good little earner selling it directly, just not as good as if we sold it manually. But there has to be a trade-off, otherwise all we're going to be doing is me showing you or spending absolutely hours, which then detract from all the other Let's Plays, and I want balance. There's got to be a bit of a trade-off to accomplish it without cheating, I might add. Yeah, I do insist that it's got to be as realistic as possible. My trailers are not going to be unrealistic, and I want to pay for inputs. And I do realise, I actually mentioned about running that man over, and I turned the lorry end and literally would have killed him if it had been real life. So yeah, thank goodness it isn't real life. Yeah, the kerosene is now going through. You can see that is, and now we've got all of that in. So the kerosene should start to come through now that I have finally switched that on. We've run out of grass as well, which is why there's no tick up from that in the BGA. There's no grass hay, and we're not producing it from that. We're not sending it to BGA because we've run out. Now, I had a cunning plan. I don't normally do this, but we've got that massive field of grass, and it is still growing. We can still cut it, and so is our field. It's not, we're going to lose first cut, but you can't normally feed your business during winter. Now, grass is really important to nearly everything. In fact, in some ways, it's more important than silage on this particular map, because it's that you get your methane from. So I might next session be cutting grass, whereas I wouldn't normally be cutting grass. I think it's December. I think we've got to December. I think I go through to next month. Yeah, this is me putting the slurry yard in, because we've got quite a lot of digestate. Yeah, I'm going to play this like you would do. All of your products you're going to sell. Normally this would be one of my most lucrative sales. Yeah, there's 80 grand's worth there. It's not at its height, but yeah, in January it's, I don't know, it looks like the price on this map's a little low, but even so, it's not going to be the biggest money spinner. But nevertheless, it's still not something I'm going to ignore. We're going to follow all of our business models and do as well as we possibly can, like we really would. But yeah, if you look at the grass at our field in a minute, I also mentioned the fact that I'm going to sell that loose metal, and literally take that over and sell it. Yeah, you can see that's cleared all of the iron ore out. Look at the money. Yeah, kerosene's going through, but it is actually doing better than it looks on there. If you look at the asphalt, we've got produced nearly 7 tons of asphalt, so which at $145 is less than 1,000 profits. So we're not going to get rich quick from the asphalt business. Nevertheless, as you can see, the iron business, on the other hand, is quite a lucrative thing, even on just selling directly. So yeah, we're up to $623, $623,000. Let's get it right. Yeah, this is me chattering. I'm having a bit of a meltdown because this is live, obviously, when I'm talking about this. Talking about we need to streamline, and also saying about I think I might sell the iron business or not use it anymore because it's going to bring in too much money. But then I have that eureka moment where I think, well, would you do that? No, not really. You just follow the thing, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to follow the model that we've got. Am I going to limit the amount that I do in a day? Probably. I should probably do 1 load a day, because I really don't want to be doing the maximum, which will be 500 tons a day, which would produce about $2 million per month. I want to be, again, I'm not limiting it to limit the thing, because you could then say, well, you're not playing to your best, and there is a point to a degree, but I don't want the entire thing. I want to use all of the businesses, but I don't want any one business to outmatch everything else. I don't want to concentrate on just the metal business. We've got lots of businesses, and we're going to be trying to keep them all afloat, which is why I'm probably not going to do animals on this particular Let's Play, because we are going to be so production rich that's going to keep us busy every single session. There's going to be hidden bits where I'm taking loads from one place to another, even with the best will in the world, even if we fine-tune this a lot. So yeah, this is me having the meltdown where I might say, no, I think I'm gonna, but I say I personally think this is what gave me the idea in editing. When I looked at this first time, and I thought, I reckon we should cut the grass, because that's really important to the methane business, which is really important for the. I want to give it 100%. It's like the asphalt business. I'm going to make it the best. It's not going to make us a lot of money, but I'm not going to pay a lot. I think I pay 10,000 for the stone and the thing per full load, and that's reasonable. I'm paying 20 grand for the iron ore per load, because I think that's not bad, but it is a really good money spinner. I do, however, in a minute, when I add the money, I add the money and then realise I've added the money and then deduct it. So just so as you know, yeah, why I add 40 grand, I meant to take it away. So I add 40,000 for the metal rather than deduct 40,000. Then when I realise my error afterwards, I'll deduct 80,000 so that I remove the 40 plus and take the 40 off that I should have done the first time. So then we are where we should be. I also take the 20 grand, 10 grand for, oh, that reminds me, I did 2 sands, so I need another 10 grand for the sand. The tyres, the scrap, I think I'm going to pay something like 5,000 for a full load for those, because it's not about money for that, and it's also a very skimpy business. So I don't know, we might pay 1,000 for the loads of old tyres, but I do still want to pay for them. It's realistic, that kind of thing. Again, I want to play as ultimately realistic as possible, which means I can police my own payments. So yeah, here's me making the mistake of adding 40,000 when what I meant to do was remove 40,000. So there we go, plus 40,000 added to my total. Now I'm going to remove minus 20,000 for 1 load of sand and 1 load of gravel. Now that was right, and now I realise what I've done, and I remove minus 80,000 to correct my mistake. So we are where we should be, apart from the fact that I need to do another load of sand and 1 load of tyres, and then we are square. Right. Yeah, this is me talking about streamlining and about yeah, because of course we can buy a lot of the things from the old mine shaft, which is what I'm looking at over there. It really is. So I think, no, I've done it already. Yeah, we bought that patch of land, haven't we? Because that's why we've gone down. Yeah.
This is what I call my generic goodbye for those sessions where I've done a recording and I didn't realise I was going to split it, and this is I do hate it when I don't say goodbye to you. It seems very rude when you've invited guests in to come and have a look at your content and you don't say goodbye. So this is what I always add as the spliced goodbye. So yeah, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. I truly do hope you're going to continue with me on this journey, and I'm going to say goodbye for now.